So as you all know, Joe Rogan did a podcast with Donald Trump the other day. It's got roughly 47 quadrillion views. And there was speculation that, he actually invited Kamala Harris on too. And I have to say, I was kind of skeptical that that was true because, I've been on Joe's show 4 or 5 times, however many times it's been. And the sense I got is he doesn't whenever he gets into politics, he doesn't even feel like he's getting into politics, right? Like he discusses politics, but in his mind, he's like, bro, I'm just kind of apolitical and just talking about social stuff. And sometimes I stumble on the field of politics, but I'm not political, right? This is how he views himself. And in the past, he said, I'm going to stay more in my lane and not necessarily have so many political people on. And, it's comedians that are in his sphere and UFC types and people who do history stuff or whatever. He's got all this wide range of interests. So when I heard he was gonna have Trump on, that I wasn't surprised by, particularly because, as I pointed out, Theo Von, Andrew Schultz, a lot of others who are sort of in his sphere of influence have already had Trump on, and now he feels like, well, shit, now I should, kind of have to, right? Because they led the way. But with Kamala, I was like, I don't think he would even be interested in talking to Kamala because he doesn't agree with her. He's always disliked her. And it just would seem like if he were to say yes to that, if he were to do that, it would be something he's doing because he just thinks it would click well, right? And hey, I have an opportunity to talk to somebody who's the sitting vice president and maybe the next president. So it's more about engagements. It's more about clicks than it is about him genuinely being interested in Kamala Harris. So, but I guess also now, in the interest of fairness, he might feel like, well, I had Trump on, so I should have Kamala on as well. But he came out the other day. Here's the headline in media. Joe Rogan reveals why Kamala Harris interview fell apart. He says, also, for the record, the Harris campaign has not passed on doing the podcast. They offered a date for Tuesday, but I would have had to travel to her, and they only wanted to do an hour. I strongly feel the best way to do it is in the studio in Austin. My sincere wish is to just have a nice conversation and get to know her as a human being. I really hope we can make it happen, right? So now since he's tweeted this, there's been no movement. It doesn't look like she's going to end up going on. I mean, I guess there's still a possibility, but I would say it's a relatively small percentage chance. So it looks like it kind of all fell apart. And he says it's because they wanted him to travel to her and only do an hour, not do the 3 that Trump did. So it's very likely not going to happen now. Now, look, what do I think of this? I don't know if this is a hot take or not. I don't know if this will piss people off or not. But I don't think she should do it. At this point, I don't think she should. Why should she do it? Okay, here's the thing. So Rogan basically gave Trump a hot stone massage. I mean, that's what happened, right? We broke down the whole thing. You can go check that video out. And, what Rogan would say, I'm sure, in his defense is bro, this is what I do. I just have conversations. I shoot the shit, right? It's a casual, nonchalant atmosphere where I want to let them speak their mind. That's what he would say. And it's okay, that's fair and fine when dealing with any number of kinds of people or professions and individuals. But when it comes to politicians in particular, that's actually not fine, right? These people make decisions that impact millions and millions of people. These people set public policy. These people, when it comes to somebody like Trump and Kamala, they have a record of things they did and things they're responsible for and things they want to do and are going to do. And they surround themselves with a certain, different kinds of people with different ideologies that just have such a colossal impact on the world. So just shooting the shit is wildly insufficient when dealing with somebody like Trump. You have a guy who's a literal war criminal, Epstein friend, corrupt billionaire. It's inadequate. So if he brings on Kamala Harris, okay, in the interest of fairness, if he wants to be fair, he does the same kind of interview with Kamala that he did with Trump. Namely, play patty cakes, right? And if he does that, what's the point of doing that? This woman's running for president. Nobody should be playing patty cakes with her. You should be asking real questions, right? So either he plays patty cakes in the interest of fairness to do what he did with Trump, or he grills her and, gets into policy and gets into disagreements, in which case that's good for interviewing any politician, but now it becomes unfair because you didn't do that with Trump, right? So it would be you played patty cakes with Trump and you were hard on Kamala, or you played patty cakes with Trump and you played patty cakes with Kamala, and both of those things are not okay, right? Both of those things are bad. And look, when it comes to Trump, like, I can't tell you the last time he did a hostile interview. Almost every interview he does is with little sycophants, right? And so if all we're getting this election cycle is like him going on frickin' podcasts, well, I'm sorry, but then it is incumbent on you. You are responsible to ask real questions. You have to ask real questions. If he's trying to stay away from anybody and everybody that'll give him a hard time about policy specifics and stuff like that, and his record and stuff like that, well, then you have to do it. You have to do it. And then the final point is, let's stop kidding ourselves. This is not the Joe Rogan of 2016. This is not the Joe Rogan of 2018. This is the Joe Rogan of 2024. It is. And his audience now, there was polling in the past on his audience, and they leaned right, but it wasn't by wide margins. Now his audience is plus 35 pro-Trump. So, like, a lot of them are sort of, they won't vote and they're not all that engaged politically, even though they might listen to some political content, listen to Rogan's podcast. And then other ones are very pro-Trump, right? And it's like, let's stop pretending like this 2016 Rogan or 2018 Rogan where you actually could go on there and maybe change some people's minds. It's a very wide array of people. Now, call it what it is. He's become a very, like, right-wing dude, and he's got, like, a right-wing audience. And so I don't understand the idea that she could go on there, and she'll bring over voters. But this isn't, at this point, this is not a gettable audience. Take it from somebody who went on there as a lefty. Back then, there were more gettable people. Now, it's just not. It's just not. So I see no benefit in her doing it. I really don't. I don't want to see Joe just shoot the shit with her and play patty cakes. But also, if he invites on Kamala and he gives her a hard time and asks her tough questions, that's also unfair because he gave Trump a hot stone massage. So either way, it wouldn't work out. So, look, in conclusion, I'll say this. If you're in so-called new media, right? Hate that term. Now it's new corporate media. But if you're in it, I'm sorry, but all the, sucking yourself off that all these people do about how special they are and different they are from mainstream media, you have to prove that. And now they're failing across the board. Like Tim Dillon had J.D. Vance on, right? Like, you're supposed to be an edgy comedian who's like a truth teller, and you're sitting there playing patty cakes with the Republican VP, who, by the way, is a liar about his record, pretends like he's pro-worker. He's not. Has a 0% record from the AFL-CIO with their report card. He's not for the PRO Act. He's not for raising the minimum wage. He's not fucking populist. He's not looking out for working people. But that, of course, didn't come through. But my point is, you have to ask real questions. You have to ask real questions if you're going to interview these kinds of people. And he didn't do it. So anyway, I see no benefit in her going on. And I find it kind of weird when people pretend like there is a benefit in her going on. There's not. There's not. There just isn't, right? I actually think she does the best. Like when she went on Fox News and had to fight Brett Baer. She did phenomenal in that interview, right? So it's not like she shouldn't challenge herself with oppositional views, but I don't know. I don't think this is the arena to do it, whether he ends up playing patty cakes with her or he ends up asking her tough questions. Either way, I don't like it because of the precedent that was already set with the Trump interview. So that's what I'd say. All right, guys, that's the show. Love you all very much. Everybody, you know the drill. Do me a big favor, like and subscribe, leave a comment, all that fun stuff. And yeah, I'll see you back here tomorrow. Everybody have a great rest of your day. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.